After Dad gave 50M trust to smart son, a woman revealed a heartwarming, life-changing truth. Jenna stood behind the counter at Jody's diner, brewing the morning coffee while the town buzzed with chatter. A local channel had just streamed an updated segment about the colossal 50 million trust bestowed upon her childhood friend, Max. She could almost feel the murmurs of admiration and envy weaving through the diner like an electric current. Glancing around, Jenna's heart sank. The clinking of silverware and laughter didn't drown out the feeling of inadequacy settling heavy in her chest. Max was the golden boy now, a stark contrast to her own struggles as a waitress and single mother to Lily.At that moment, Lily bolted through the diner doors, a streak of sunshine in a pink dress, her laughter spilling like music. Jenna's heart lifted. That little girl, with her wild curls and bright smile, reminded her every day that grit counts for more than money. But as customers whispered behind Jenna's back about the trust, glimpses of judgment tainted the warm atmosphere of the diner. People saw Max's wealth as a badge of honor. Wasn't he the real triumph living with integrity? As the evening wore on, the town hall echoed with passionate debates about economic disparities, the wealthy and the less fortunate. Jenna squeezed into a seat, anticipation bubbling in her gut. It was there she overheard the soft-spoken conversation between Max and a friend. "You'd think I'd be happy, right? But this money feels like a weight. Every day, I can't escape the expectations," he confided, guilt etching lines on his brow. That revelation was like reaching out and pulling her in. It shifted something within Jenna. "Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen." Now let's continue. Each week passed, and life at Jody's kept shifting subtly. Seeing Max's struggle brought life into focus. Jenna, ever resilient, reached out to him after a town event, sharing stories of her late-night shifts and the joy of raising Lily alone. They began brainstorming ideas for a community service initiative, aiming to help families facing hardships just like hers. The idea breathed camaraderie back into both their lives, and Jenna's laughter reminded Max what caring means. But then came the storm. Jenna learned a harrowing secret about Max's inheritance that twisted the narrative. His trust, held hostage by conditions tied to his success, threatened the budding community project they had poured their hearts into. As Jenna's chest tightened, she faced a choice: share the truth or keep quiet. It was more than just her life now. It was about the community that saw value in genuine hearts, not just in dollar signs. What would Jenna do? And what of Max? Would he continue to bask in his privilege or step into a role of compassion that could change everything? The community held its breath, poised on the brink of transformation, waiting to see where their intertwined paths would lead next. Jenna stared out the window of Jody's diner, the vibrant sun casting long shadows across the sidewalk as she pondered Max's secret. The townspeople shuffled above her like sleepwalkers in a haze of gossip and assumptions. She thought of the stories they had shared, the laughter and the challenges. It felt impossible that something so heavy could be hiding behind Max's trust. Her heart raced as she poured the coffee, the steam swirling like her thoughts. If the conditions of his inheritance were as restrictive as she suspected, it could shatter their plans for the community project before it even began. Jenna's fingers trembled as she wiped the counter, lost in her worries. "Hey, Mom! Look what I found!" Lily beelined towards her, waving a crumpled flyer. It was an advertisement for a local fair filled with stalls, games, and vibrant colors. For a moment, Jenna was transported to simpler times, when laughter drowned out financial fears. "Can we go, please?" Jenna knelt to Lily's level, forcing a smile despite the tight knot in her stomach. "Sure, sweet pea. That sounds fun." She couldn't say no. If nothing else, they needed moments of joy, tiny sparks to fend off the shadows creeping in. That evening, As they strolled through the fair with twinkling lights winking at them from every corner, the laughter of children echoed around. Jenna felt a warmth she hadn't experienced in days. Lily pulled her towards a game booth, and without thinking, Jenna withdrew her wallet, her heartache momentarily pushed aside. "Just $1, Mom." Lily squealed, eyes wide with excitement. Jenna chuckled, "All right, just one game." As they played, Jenna allowed herself to indulge in the simple pleasure of the moment, the way laughter erupted from her daughter, the way the summer night felt like a gentle embrace. After a few rounds, Jenna spotted Max across the lot, deep in conversation with a small group. He looked different, less the golden boy and more a young man wrestling with the weight of expectations. Apart from the social demons, he was genuinely trying to connect with those around him. Jenna's heart softened. Could he really be struggling like she did? "Mom, can we go say hi?" Lily tugged at her sleeve, eyes filled with youthful eagerness. The little girl, with her infectious spirit, saw only possibilities. What would happen if Jenna chose to let go of her anxieties and just reach out? Drawing in a breath, Jenna took Lily's hand, and they made their way towards Max. The closer they got, the more her heart pounded, caught between friendship and the decision lurking in the back of her mind. Would Max even want her help? Would he resent the intrusion into his newfound wealth? "Hey, Max," Jenna called, forcing a smile even as a wave of uncertainty washed over her. When he turned, his expression morphed from surprise to warmth. "This is my daughter, Lily." She wanted to say hi. "Hi there," Lily chirped, her joy bubbling over like fizzy soda. Max knelt, his expression genuine. "Hey, little buddy. How was the fair?" The tension in Jenna's shoulders eased slightly as she watched them connect. But as they talked, Jenna felt that weight again. The decision loomed large. Could she risk everything to unveil the truth? Then a familiar old man from the diner ambled over, keen ears eager to hear the whispers of change. He leaned in and said something that stirred Jenna's worry even more. "Did you hear? They're thinking of turning the old park into condos." "What a shame." With a quick glance at Max, Jenna wondered if this was the moment to push through the fear. Could revealing his reality help propel their dreams into action? Or would it shatter the fragile world they had begun to construct together? What choice would Jenna make as the stakes grew higher? And would Max find the courage to let go of the privilege that heaped on him like a shroud? The air crackled with what-ifs, holding both of their fates in precarious balance. The laughter from the fair danced in the air, but Jenna's heart felt heavy as she watched Max interact with the crowd. It was strange seeing him here, relaxed and engaging, while she was torn between loyalty and the pressing truth that threatened to surface. Lily tugged on her hand, pulling her back to the present. "Mom, can we play some games?" Her eyes sparkled, full of hope and innocence. Jenna nodded, but the weight of her decision loomed like a dark cloud overhead. "I'll be right back, all right?" Jenna said gently, kneeling down to meet her daughter's gaze. "I just need to talk to Max for a second." "Okay, but hurry. I want to win a stuffed animal." Jenna smiled, a soft, bittersweet smile. With another deep breath, she stepped away from the brightness of the booths and headed toward Max. The moment stretched as she approached, each step feeling slower than the last. "Max," she called out, meeting his eye. He looked up from a conversation, his brow furrowing slightly with curiosity and concern. "Hey, Jenna. Everything okay? Can we talk?" There was an urgency in her voice she couldn't quite hide. He nodded, motioning for her to step aside into a quieter corner of the bustling fair. They moved away from the crowds, and as they stopped, Jenna saw the flickering lights create playful shadows on his face. "Is something wrong?" His tone was gentle, yet his eyes bore the worry that mirrored her own. The words caught in her throat. Should she jump in with both feet, or hold back? "I heard about the park. The condos. They can't do that, Max. We need that space for the community kids, families I know," he said, shifting slightly, his expression unreadable. "But my dad." "Your inheritance," Jenna interrupted, feeling the weight of her suspicion. "If it comes with strings attached, it could affect everything." Max looked away, his jaw tightening. "It's complicated." "Complicated how?" "Max, if you don't take charge, it could slip away from us." from the town. Her voice was rising now, a mix of frustration and urgency spilling out. He took a deep breath, seeming to wrestle with something deep within. Okay, there's something I need to tell you. His gaze flickered back to her, and in that moment, Jenna felt a pulse of hope while fear danced in the back of her mind. As he began to speak, the sounds of laughter and carnival games faded into the background. After my dad's passing, there was something else, a requirement tied to my trust. Before he could finish, Jenna's thoughts raced ahead. Could it be true? Would he have to choose between wealth and the community? The realization felt like a roller coaster, thrilling, terrifying, and full of possibilities. What do you mean a requirement? Jenna pressed, needing clarity. That I'd have to prove myself, he said abruptly. To show I can manage it responsibly, or his voice trailed off, and for a moment, silence hung between them like a fragile thread. Or what? She whispered, heart pounding. Max swallowed hard, the weight of his word hanging heavy in the air. Or I could lose everything, including control over the legacy, the town's future. Jenna felt as if the ground had dropped from beneath her feet. This was worse than she'd feared. If Max didn't step up, everything they dreamed of could vanish. As she absorbed his truth, tears prickled at the edges of her sight. You're telling me you're trapped? I guess in some way, yes, he admitted quietly. Lily's laughter broke through the tension, pulling Jenna back toward the world waiting just outside their heavy conversation. But inside her, a storm brewed, a mixture of responsibility and fear, a reality neither one of them expected. Max, what if we could work together? Her voice shook with conviction. What if we faced this and took back control for our community? Together? He looked at her, an ember of hope igniting in his eyes. Yes, she breathed, feeling a swell of determination. But at what cost? The colors of the fair seemed to pulse around them, alive with unpredictability. Jenna's heart raced, holding not just her future, but Max's too. As the stars above shone brightly, she wondered if this was the spark they needed to light a fire for change. Could they really change the course of their destinies? That question hung in the air, unspoken yet powerful, the answer as uncertain as the flickering lights. Max stood there, his eyes fixed on Jenna, the weight of her proposal hanging between them like a fragile lifeline. The sounds of the fair faded as she searched his face for a sign, a glimmer of hope. You really think we can do this? He asked, disbelief lacing his voice. Jenna nodded, her heart thrumming with an intensity she hadn't felt in years. Yes. If we put our heads together, we can rally the community. Show them what's at stake. We can't just sit back and watch it slip away. But the condos are a done deal in my father's eyes. How do we challenge that? Our voices are just two in a crowd. We start small. We gather support, make people aware of what's happening. We create a movement. He frowned, uncertainty etched in his features. And what if it doesn't work? What if I fail? Max, if we don't try, we will never know, she urged, her voice fierce. Besides, you aren't alone in this. I'll be right here with you. It was then he seemed to really see her. Not just Jenna, the girl he once knew, but Jenna, the warrior fighting for something that mattered. The look in his eyes shifted, and she could see the flicker of realization light up his face. Okay, let us do it. The determination matched her own, and it took all her will not to reach out and hug him. They were standing on the edge of something big, a chance to reclaim what was taken and, maybe, heal their past in the process. From behind them, Lily's excited voice cut through the tension. Mom, I won. Look. She bounded up to them, clutching a stuffed bear almost as big as she was, her face beaming with pride. Wow, are you a bear-catching champion? Jenna laughed, kneeling to pull her into a hug. A bittersweet swell of happiness filled her. This was what they were fighting for, the dreams of families like theirs. Lily squirmed. Can I show it off? Of course. Just give us a minute. As Jenna released her daughter, thoughts raced back to the challenge ahead. Max's future was intertwined with her own, and with every heartbeat, she could sense the beginning of a revolution building. Still, doubt nagged at the back of her mind. Was this enough? Could hope and determination really shift the tides against well-laid plans? A small girl ran by, her laughter bubbling like a charm, and for a moment, Jenna let herself bask in the innocence of it all. But just as quickly, she felt the gravity of the situation return. "Let us meet tomorrow, first thing," Max suggested, breaking through her musings. "We can draw up a plan and figure out what steps to take. We can't let fear dictate our path." "Sounds good," Jenna agreed, excitement surging through her. But as they turned to rejoin Lily, a shadow passed over her heart. What if their efforts wouldn't be enough? What if they lost everything? Determined to silence the fear, Jenna took a deep breath, letting the sounds of the fair fill her senses again. She had to believe in the power of their cause, if not for herself, then for Lily, who deserved a future if they fought hard enough. "Mom, can we go on the Ferris wheel? Please?" Lily's bright voice cut through her thoughts, pulling her focus back to the here and now. Max smiled, watching the two of them. The warmth of his gaze sent a thrill through Jenna. "Let us go have some fun first, yeah? We'll need all our energy for tomorrow." Lily bounced on her toes, her enthusiasm infectious. Jenna couldn't help but smile despite the weight on her shoulders. But even as they walked, hand in hand, she couldn't shake the feeling that the fight was just beginning. As they reached the line for the Ferris wheel, the sun began to dip below the horizon, casting a golden hue over the fairgrounds. Tomorrow would bring its own battles, but tonight they had a fleeting moment of joy, a pocket of laughter amidst their war. Jenna looked at Max, feeling a spark of unity, hope pooling in her chest. What challenges lay ahead was uncertain, but what if this was the turning point? Deep down, the question lingered: were they brave enough to take the leap together? Jenna could hardly believe how light her heart felt as they climbed aboard the Ferris wheel. The world around her transformed into a swirl of colors and laughter, but her mind battled the gravity of their mission. As the carousel of lights began to spin, she focused on Lily's radiant face, pure joy illuminating every feature. "Look, Mom, we're so high up," Lily exclaimed, her arms stretched wide like a bird ready to take flight. Jenna's smile widened. The thrill of the moment distracted her, if only for a second, from tomorrow's uncertainties. Max sat across from them, stealing glances at Jenna. With every turn, the fair seemed more magical, more alive. Flashes of their childhood spent in this very spot flickered in Jenna's mind, memories tangled with dreams. This place was their foundation, the heart of their small community. But as the Ferris wheel climbed higher, she felt that looming shadow of change press down. "Do you think we can really change things?" Max's voice broke through her reverie, his brow furrowed. "It starts with one voice, then another. It's like climbing this wheel," she said, hoping her fingers had enough strength to hold on to their dreams. "Each step takes us higher." "Yeah, but what if that high point is just a fall?" Max countered, vulnerability slipping into his words. "Then we pick ourselves up again," she replied, her voice steady. "I know it's scary, and there are no guarantees. But if we fall, we'll do it together." Lily chimed in, "Yeah, like superheroes." The conviction in her voice made Jenna's heart swell. "Exactly," she said, ruffling her daughter's hair. "Superheroes believe in each other. They fight for what's right." As they reached the peak, the view of the fairgrounds below took her breath away. Lights twinkled like stars against the darkening sky, and she could see families gathered, laughter echoing. This was their community. This was everything. With the world sprawling out beneath them, Jenna took a deep breath. "Tomorrow we gather everyone. We'll bring the kids, the parents, the grandparents. They'll see why it matters. Together, we can make a difference." She glanced at Max, locking eyes. His expression shifted, uncertainty replaced by the spark of something deeper. "You really believe we can? That our voices can matter?" "I believe they already do," Jenna replied firmly. "We just have to make them hear us." When the ride began to descend, the weight of her hope momentarily lifted her spirit. They had one night to gather energy, inspiration, and courage, a chance to dream again. But as they stepped off the Ferris wheel, the reality of tomorrow crept back in. Challenges lurked like shadows, waiting to pounce. Lily skipped ahead, pulling Max in her wake. "Come on. Let us find cotton candy." As Jenna followed them, determination crystal clear in her focus, a feeling of resolve rose within her. She couldn't let fear overshadow this chance. They were up against more than just a building. They were fighting for dreams. But what if the dreams they fought for weren't enough? What if their voices fell silent in the noise of indifference? Max. Her voice trailed off, an anxious knot tightening in her stomach. Jenna. He turned back to her, concern framing his features. Tomorrow could change everything, she said softly, staring into his eyes. They shared a hopeful silence, broken only by Lily's giggles. Yet, beneath their smiles, both felt the heaviness of the unknown stretching out before them. What if they succeeded but lost something dear in the fight? Would they be brave enough to face the truths that lay ahead, and could they withstand the impact of fate? As they strolled into the vibrant chaos of the fair, fates entwined, the question lingered like a whisper in the night: did they truly have the power to change everything? Or was this just another dream destined to fade? The bright lights of the fair blurred together as Jenna walked, her heart racing, not just from the excitement, but also from the heavy weight of the day ahead. The sounds of laughter, music, and the sweet aroma of cotton candy filled the air, creating an intoxicating blend of joy and nostalgia. But buried beneath that festive veneer was a nagging worry that clawed at her. Mom, can we ride the carousel next? Lily tugged insistently at Jenna's hand, her eyes wide with anticipation. Of course, honey, Jenna replied, forcing a smile. Inwardly, though, she felt as if she were spinning on that Ferris wheel again, balancing precariously between hope and uncertainty. Max walked beside her, his brows drawn tight. You think anyone will come tomorrow? His voice wobbled, echoing Jenna's own fears. They will, she said, taking a deep breath. If we show them how much this matters, they'll see it too. She wished she could snatch the doubt from his eyes and replace it with the belief that this could work, that their community could rally together. As they reached the carousel, colorful horses bobbed up and down, their painted manes catching the twinkling lights. It felt like a portal to their childhood, a reminder of simpler times when everything seemed possible. Lily squealed with delight, bounding ahead to grab one of the nearest horses. In that moment, Jenna was struck by how innocent and unburdened Lily was. She was a beacon of unfiltered hope. Hey, remember when we used to ride these together? Max chuckled, his shoulders relaxing a bit as he joined Lily on a horse. Yeah, Jenna replied wistfully, her heart tightening. It felt like we could reach the stars from up there. You really think we can gather the whole town? Max asked, still skeptical. Yes, Jenna replied, fire kindling in her chest. We have something worth fighting for. If we can just spark a little interest, I know people will rally. As the carousel spun, Lily's laughter rang like music, drifting above the noise of the fair. But as Jenna watched her daughter rush to find cotton candy again, the heaviness returned. Would they lose Lily's innocence in this fight? There was so much at stake, and what if they emerged only to find defeat staring back at them? Let us sit for a moment, Jenna said, needing to catch her breath. They found a bench, and Max leaned back, eyes closed, as if he were taking in every ounce of joy around them. Jenna, he said after a moment, what if it doesn't work? What if they just dismiss us? Jenna swallowed hard. Then at least we tried. We'll still be stronger together. Yeah, I guess you're right, Max said, but his voice lacked conviction. The fair continued to swirl around them, a kaleidoscope of lights, laughter, and fleeting moments. People gathered, couples embraced, and families shared cotton candy, each one blissfully unaware of the turbulence brewing in Jenna's heart. Yet, for all her resolve, a gnawing question lingered. What if trying to fight for their dreams revealed uncomfortable truths? What would they discover about their community? About themselves? Mom, look at this. Lily's voice broke through her thoughts, holding an oversized stick of cotton candy that enveloped her little hand. Sweet innocence in a sugary cloud. Wow, that looks amazing, Jenna exclaimed, putting on a brave face. Inside, she felt the pull of the impending confrontation. Tomorrow held the potential to change everything, but it could just as easily unravel the ties that bound them. As they enjoyed the sugary treat, laughter bursting among them, Jenna couldn't shake the feeling that tomorrow would demand more than just courage. It would demand honesty. And for the first time, she felt a dread settle in. Was she ready for whatever truths awaited them? Her heart raced anew, caught in a tide of hope and uncertainty, spiraling toward tomorrow. What would happen when the voices of the community rose? Would the chorus be harmonious, or would it bring discord? Jenna blinked at the vibrant colors swirling around her, but they felt numb now, almost alien. The anticipation of the fair began to settle beneath the shadows of her worries. Little did she know, this very night would plant the seeds of tomorrow's confrontation. As the carousel slowed and Lily dismounted, her cheeks flushed with joy, Jenna caught sight of familiar faces in the crowd. Some were smiling, others deep in conversation. They were the townsfolk she had grown up with, each one holding their own stories, their own struggles. Jenna felt a tightness in her chest. They shared laughter, but the laughter felt fragile, as if the moment teetered between happiness and something lurking just beneath the surface. "Max, should we talk to them about tomorrow?" she asked, trying to mask the tremor in her voice. She knew it needed to be done, but would it be worth it? Max nodded slowly, eyes darting towards a few close friends across the way. "Yeah, maybe we should. They need to hear our thoughts." Jenna agreed, but felt the discomfort coil within her as they approached. Her heart raced. Each step toward them felt like a step onto a tightrope. "Hey guys," Max called out, forcing a cheerful tone. "We wanted to tell you about a little project we're working on for the community." The group shifted their attention, a mix of curiosity and skepticism washing over their faces. Jenna steeled herself. This was it. "We're planning an event tomorrow to help reunite the town, share our experiences, and bring back that sense of community we've been missing," she added, her voice shaking slightly. One of the older women, Agnes, raised an eyebrow. "Do you really think people will show up? The last few events, well, they didn't go too well." Jenna swallowed hard. "I believe they will. People want to come together, to feel connected again. I know it's been tough, but if we show that we believe in it, others will too." She felt the passion rising inside her, yet each word was met with silence. Another friend, Ryan, shifted awkwardly. "And if they don't? If they choose not to come?" There was an edge in his voice, a hint of the doubt that Jenna had hoped to quell. Max took a deep breath, searching for reassurance. "People want a reason to join in again. We can't give up on that hope, right?" The group stayed quiet, and Jenna felt as if the air had shifted. A mix of fear and determination surged through her. Would they really embrace the idea, or just let it slide into doubt? "I think we could make it fun. A festival even," Lily chimed in, her sweet innocence shining brightly. "With games and food. Everyone loves food." Laughter bubbled from the group, and just like that, Jenna felt a tiny spark ignite. "Maybe if we get the kids involved," too, Agnes mused, and Jenna's heart lifted. Would that be the key to drawing people in? But as they began brainstorming, moments of joy sparkled against the backdrop of anxiety. Somewhere within her, Jenna wondered how far they were willing to go. Would they truly take that leap tomorrow? And if they did, what would happen to their fragile relationships? Life had a way of unearthing hidden tensions. "Let us meet early. We can finalize everything," Max suggested, but even as they nodded, she sensed the edges of conflict simmering beneath the surface. What awaited them in that less than ideal moment? As Jenna walked away, uncertainty lingered thick in the air. Each step felt heavier, the weight of tomorrow pressing down upon her. Were they prepared to face the truths that could rise up? Jenna glanced back at her friends, their silhouettes illuminated by the fair's fading lights, pondering the potential for unity or a fracture that none could predict. As the night wrapped around them, a new thought crossed her mind. What if tomorrow didn't just change the community, but challenged everything she thought she knew about herself? Would she be ready to confront those truths? The morning sun filtered through the trees, casting dappled patterns on the ground. Jenna stood outside her house, sipping coffee as she took a deep breath. Today was the day. She could feel both excitement and dread curling in her stomach. The fairground was just a short walk away, buzzing with preparations, and yet it felt like a world away from her thoughts. Max checked his watch, pacing beside her. "We need to get going if we want to set up everything in time," he said, glancing over at Jenna. You ready? She offered a shaky smile, her heart racing. I will be. Just give me a minute. As she stood there, memories flashed in her mind, the fleeting moments in the town that once felt like home, but now felt fraught with tension. She thought about her dad, how he had loved these gatherings. They're the glue, he used to say. But amidst the laughter, glimpses of heartache lurked. The looming shadow of those tensions held her back. Jenna, you're okay? Max's voice pulled her from her reverie. Yeah, just thinking about everything. She took a deep breath and stepped off the porch. Let us go. The fairgrounds were alive with color. Bright banners fluttered in the breeze, and the sweet smell of cotton candy wafted through the air. Children squealed with delight, and laughter echoed between the booths. Yet, beneath the joy, Jenna sensed an undercurrent of uncertainty. Adults exchanged quick glances, their smiles sometimes more forced than genuine. They arrived at the main tent, where volunteers began setting up tables and decorations. Jenna's heart leaped when she spotted Lily already chattering away with a group of kids, handing out balloons. See? Max nudged her, grinning. Look at all the energy. This is what we need. As they joined in to help, Jenna felt her pulse quicken. They worked alongside friends they hadn't connected with in years, laughter interspersed with moments of silence. Each smile shared was a small victory, but the heavy weight of tomorrow's reality was never far from her mind. Hey, Jenna. Agnes called, navigating through the crowd. Can you come help me with the sign? With a nod, Jenna headed over, leaving Max behind. Agnes was in her 50s, with wrinkles that told stories of laughter and compassion, but also of hardships suffered. Jenna could see the worry etched across her face. You know, Agnes began, her voice low, I wasn't sure whether I would come today. Things have been complicated, to say the least. Jenna felt a pang of vulnerability. I get it. But maybe today could be a fresh start? Agnes smiled, though there was sadness in her eyes. You're so optimistic, Jenna. I wish others felt the same. Jenna wished she could transfer that hope into Agnes's heart, to help her see that communities could rebuild. The silence stretched between them, thick with unspoken fears. As they finished the sign, Jenna glanced back at Max. He was chatting animatedly with Ryan, hands waving as if trying to breathe life into the event. What if they don't come? Echoed through her mind again. What if they do? Let us get some of the kids involved with the setup, Agnes suggested, breaking Jenna's thoughts. They bring a different kind of energy. It might lighten the mood. Jenna agreed, and together they rounded up a small group, laughing as they ran around. Encouraged by their joy, Jenna's own spirit lifted. Maybe they could build something strong today after all, but as the clock ticked towards the opening hour, Jenna's heart raced. What would happen once they gathered everyone? Would those fragile connections snap or strengthen? As the final touches were made, Jenna stole a glance at the crowd beginning to gather. Some familiar faces, warmed by smiles, and others shadowed by uncertainty. Let us do this, she muttered to herself, feeling the weight settle in her chest. But what if those fragile threads woven through their shared past frayed rather than recommitted? She could only breathe deeply and step into the fray. She took one last look at her friends, who buzzed with anticipation. Would they emerge on the other side as a united community? Or would the fractures deepen irrevocably? With every heartbeat, hope and fear collided, and as Jenna stood at the threshold, she wondered if today would reveal more than she bargained for. Would she uncover the truths within herself and others that she'd been avoiding? Jenna took a deep breath, squaring her shoulders as she stepped towards the main entrance of the fair. Friends and neighbors were starting to gather, their faces a mix of joy and uncertainty. She could hear the bands warming up, the distant laughter of children, and the sizzling sound of food being prepared. But even amid the chaos, a question gnawed at her. Could this gathering really mend what was broken? Max caught her eye, a reassuring smile on his face as he adjusted a booth sign. You ready, Jenna? He called out, and his enthusiasm brightened the atmosphere around her. With the crowd slowly forming, Jenna nodded, pushing down the wave of anxiety rising within her. As people began streaming in, Jenna found herself gravitating towards familiar faces. She spotted old high school friends Chad and Mia laughing and reminiscing just a few feet away. Maybe it was the rush of nostalgia or the hint of shared childhood history, but for a moment, Jenna felt herself transported back to carefree days, a time when the most pressing concern had been buying enough tickets for the Ferris wheel. "Hey, Jenna, come join us." Mia waved, her smile wide and inviting. "Yeah, we've got a little reunion here," Chad added, and Jenna felt a warmth spread through her, a hopeful recognition of what had been lost, but could be regained. She approached them, laughter bubbling inside her. But just as she got close, a brief moment of hesitation flickered across her mind. What if they brought their parents' resentments with them? She shook it off, choosing to see the light in their reunion instead of the shadows of their history. "Wow, it's like no time has passed," Jenna exclaimed, joining in their banter. Their easy laughter was infectious, and for a moment, the tension seemed to dissolve amidst the joyous memories. In the distance, the sound of the loudspeaker blared. "Welcome to the fair. Make sure to check out the pie eating contest at noon." Jenna's heart skipped. It was a tradition, one her dad had cherished. Would he be proud today? As the opening festivities officially began, Jenna felt adrenaline pumping through her veins. The energy around her lifted her spirits, creating a fragile bubble of hope. However, as she looked at the gathered crowd beneath the big tent, a knot tightened in her stomach. What if old grudges bubbled to the surface? What if the past was too heavy to break through for just one day? Lily dashed past, holding a handful of balloons, her laughter like music. "Jenna, look!" she shouted, pointing to a balloon that had escaped her grip and floated into the sky. For Lily, it was merely a fleeting moment of joy, but for Jenna, it was a reminder of how quickly things could change, how fragile happiness could be. What if they argue? Jenna whispered to herself, gripping the edge of a table nervously. Max sidled up next to her, catching the worry in her eyes. "It's all going to work out, Jen. Remember, today's about reconnecting." His voice was sure, but Jenna couldn't shake the creeping doubt. A familiar sound pierced the cheerful noise of the fair-raised voices. Jenna turned, her heart racing. A group of adults had gathered near the food stalls, their expressions tight. The tension was palpable, and Jenna felt a chill. What if this is the first sign of it all falling apart? Jenna's mind spiraled, heart pounding. What happens when the dust settles? Would they still find value in each other? Before she could decide whether to intervene or retreat, the crowd around her began to pay attention. Would it escalate? Surely, they wouldn't let one argument spoil the day. Jenna took a step forward, her voice trembling but resolute. "Everyone, let us take a breath." But as all eyes turned to her, waiting for a resolution, she wondered if she had the power to steer this day in a better direction. Would the fair become a symbol of unity or a flashpoint for discord? Jenna swallowed hard, heart racing with anticipation for what was to come. What awaited her on the other side of this moment could either heal wounds or expose them. Would courage push her forward, or would fear keep her rooted in place? Jenna stood there, heart pounding, her eyes darting between familiar faces twisted in frustration and disbelief. The crowd had begun to murmur, tension bubbling to the surface like effervescent soda, threatening to overflow. She could almost hear her heartbeat competing with the distant sound of laughter and music, creating an uneasy symphony. "Everyone, let us take a breath," she called, her voice quaking with the weight of uncertainty. It felt like a gamble. Would they hear her? Would they respond to a single plea? A few heads turned toward her, uncertainty mingling with curiosity. "Listen, I know things have been complicated," she continued, stepping closer, arms open as if to embrace the gathering storm. "But we all share this town, our stories, struggles, and dreams. Isn't that worth fighting together for?" Gradually, the voices softened, hesitant whispers replacing shouts. Jenna felt a flicker of hope. Perhaps the bond of community lay dormant, just waiting for a spark. "We've had our differences," Max chimed in, stepping alongside her. "But we all want the same thing, a vibrant future for our families. Let us celebrate that today." His words wrapped around Jenna like a warm blanket, electrifying the air between them. She glanced over her shoulder, catching sight of Lily, wide-eyed with curiosity. She wanted to show her daughter what unity could look like, not just in theory, but in action, in courage. Emboldened, Jenna took a breath and stepped even closer, feeling grounded by the quietening crowd. Today is about more than games and food. It's about reconnecting our roots, bridging the gaps that have grown through the years. She could see tiny flickers of recognition on some faces, a spark of something lost breaking through the haze. An older man, once a good friend of her father, approached slowly, vulnerability etched in his features. "You're right, Jenna. I've been angry for too long, angry at the changes, my own life, but I miss the community we had." His admission hung in the air, heavy with shared histories and unspoken truths. "Me too," Jenna replied softly, feeling her chest rise with the collective breath of the crowd. "We're not alone. We can support each other." The crowd shifted, conversations began to bubble among the former friends and neighbors. Instead of simmering resentment, the shared histories buzzed with camaraderie, laughter dancing back into the exchanges as they recounted old stories. Jenna felt a rush of gratitude wash over her. Beneath the weight of worry, this was the lifeblood of their town, resilience fueling hopes and dreams. And it was all because of a moment of bravery, igniting a new path forward. As laughter enveloped the crowd, Jenna could see connections reforming like intricate threads stitching together a beautiful tapestry. Perhaps this day wouldn't just be a fleeting reprieve, but a true turning point. "Mom, they're starting the pie eating contest!" Lily shrieked, dragging Max towards the commotion. A wave of warmth flooded through Jenna. Her daughter didn't think twice about whether to join in. It was that same spirit that reignited the town's heartbeat. "Let us go." Jenna grinned, weaving through the crowd, hand in hand with Max and Lily. She could feel the community shift around them, like ripples from a single stone tossed into a vast lake, creating waves of connection and purpose. And as they laughed, Jenna allowed herself to hope that they could reclaim their town's spirit, stitch back together its heart, and transform it into something even greater than before. Later, as the sun began to dip below the horizon, the last remnants of day painting the sky, tears welled in Jenna's eyes. She took a moment to witness the sights, the dance of community unfolding before her, the joy erupting from familiar faces coming together as one. Max, standing beside her, caught her gaze. "We did it, Jenna. They came." His smile radiated warmth, and in that instant, they both realized how much healing had happened, how much love could transform fear. With renewed strength, Jenna turned to him, her eyes glistening. "This is just the beginning. Together, we can keep this spark alive." Max nodded, determination lighting up his expression. "Let us take it to the next level. We can build more than just a project. We can build a legacy." And with that pact forged in the fading light, Jenna felt a new sense of purpose rise within her, a conviction that tomorrow held more than just vague promises. It held the power to inspire further connection, compassion, and growth. Tomorrow would bring fresh challenges, no doubt, but beneath the cacophony of life, they had discovered the largest truth of all: in unity, even the most fractured hearts could rise to create a life worth fighting for. Fiercely and beautifully. As Jenna turned back to the celebration with Lily and Max, she smiled at the laughter echoing through the fair, the sound of change, the sound of hope, alive and thriving around them. Now, more than ever, they were ready to face whatever lay ahead. If you felt a stirring in your heart hearing this, you need to subscribe now. Don't wait not even one more second to hit that bell so you never miss an exclusive story that inspires. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and keep the community growing. Comment below with your reactions and feelings about this transformative journey. And share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this powerful lesson. Together we can make a difference. This is the moment to show your support.